Hey everyone, welcome back to another week of reactions to your favorite zombies games. In my last video, we covered the ever-changing reaction to the unique Black Ops 2 Zombies mode, which eventually concluded with one of the best reactions to a zombies map in the entire history of the mode. This can be most attributed to the developer takeover seen with Jason Blundell and his fantastic maps in the game, so naturally the community at this moment was at a point of extreme excitement and anticipation for the next zombies game in the series. However, something interesting and unexpected would happen between the release of Treyarch titles, as for the first time ever, a developing studio outside of Treyarch decided to take a swing at their own interpretation of the beloved zombies mode with Exo Zombies. So in this video, I aim to see the community's reaction to this game through the lens of those in the community at the time to provide a relative reaction to the wider community to see if it has potentially evolved whatsoever in the modern day. So with that out of the way, let's look into how the community reacted to... Before we begin talking about the anticipation to Advanced Warfare, which was the game the specific zombies mode was released in, it is important that we understand where we are on the timeline. As we discussed last video, Black Ops 2 was the latest game at this point to release zombies back in 2013. However, there was another Call of Duty game, Ghosts, that had released right after Black Ops 2 had ended that featured an alien extinction mode. This mode was met with some relatively mixed reception across the board. Some people liked it, some people hated it, but the main thing people were looking forward to was zombies, and since Ghost had an alien shooter, people were questioning if there would be some form of zombies in Advanced Warfare as well. Nobody really was anticipating zombies within this game, however, and I honestly saw more theories stating other possibilities for the mode, ranging from bland modes such as Spec Ops to other more outlandish options such as vampires, dinosaurs, and even goblins. So it's safe to say nobody really expected there to be zombies in the first place. It's also important to mention that many thought that the next Call of Duty would be developed by Treyarch since it has been a 2-year cycle in the past. However, this game would mark the change from a 2-year release cycle for Treyarch to a 3-year release cycle, allowing Sledgehammer Games to step in and develop Advanced Warfare. Anyways, with background knowledge aside, Call of Duty at the time was in a very cramped release schedule, and the release of the multiplayer reveal for Advanced Warfare quite literally came out nearly a week after the final DLC for Call of Duty Ghosts, which was absolutely insane. But this is relevant to zombies because I noticed a video posted on August 12, 2014 by well-known YouTuber NoahJ456 that provided a theory for zombies potentially being in the game based off of a console special edition for the game. Yeah, it's pretty crazy and I thought it was absolutely insane, but it was clear people had been wanting zombies after a year's hiatus from the game, going as far as Noah did by pointing out literally the tiniest detail on the controller with what looks like a round counter. It's safe to say the reaction to zombies potentially being in this game though was overwhelmingly positive. Numerous comments in Noah's comment section were absolutely excited about this potential release, and I also saw once again numerous comments saying it would be a dinosaur game mode or a cyborg game mode instead of zombies. Additionally, there was actually a video posted by the official Call of Duty account before all of this that saw musician Afrojack touring the Sledgehammer Games office, and at a specific point in the video there was a screen that was blurred out that definitely looked like zombies, which again got people extremely excited. People definitely wanted to play zombies in this game, especially since this was the first Call of Duty game to release on the new console, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and it was only a matter of time until it got revealed. However, in a press release revealed in late October or early November, right before the game released, zombies was indeed confirmed to be in the game, but there was a huge catch. Zombies was locked behind a paid DLC for the game, essentially meaning that in order to play the mode in the first place, you had to buy the DLC for the game. This had not been a problem in the past modes, of course. Obviously, we had been paying for DLC previously, but this was a problem now because of the fact there was no launch map to play whatsoever. This was taken extremely negatively by the community, obviously, and people immediately noticed the pretty horrible business practices happening here, with some people such as Crizola calling it a straight up scam. I mean, they were completely justified to say all this though. I'm still mad about it to this day because I literally had to pay $50 to play Exo Zombies in the game through the season pass, which is honestly just a travesty. But anyways, this also meant that Zombies was not going to be released until at least 2 months after the game had released, so all the zombies community could do realistically was, well, wait. That was until about 2 weeks after the release of the game, where they would honestly drop one of the coolest cinematic trailers for a zombies mode ever on November 26th. This trailer got some pretty positive reception throughout the comments. I saw a lot of people saying it looked fun and that they were willing to try it out, but honestly the announcement that it would be a DLC was enough to throw people off completely. There was also plenty of comments saying how they refused to buy the mode because it wasn't Treyarch, so there was also that too. It's safe to say people were not the most excited for this overall interpretation of the mode, but they were just excited to see zombies in the first place. There was one more trailer that was released prior to the first DLC that would show off the cast of characters within this map, and Exo Zombies decided to go the celebrity route and make quite literally every crew member an actor, with John Malkovich, Bill Paxton, Rose McGowan, and John Bernthal. This easily got the attention of a lot of people, and overall it seemed the community sentiment was heightened with positivity just slightly. But finally, after what seemed like forever, the Zombies mode released on January 27, 2015, and the reaction was, well, pretty positive all things considered. A lot of people were saying that it was a great addition to the game. I saw people such as Kem saying he liked it because of all the new additions it added to the game, and the map Outbreak was perfectly sized. It was honestly pretty weird for me to see, because contrary to popular belief, there were plenty of people who seemed to love the mode. I even saw people saying it was better than Black Ops 2 Zombies somehow, but the only reason people seemed to dislike the map whatsoever was because of the fact that it simply was not Treyarch Zombies, which I suppose is understandable. But of course, per usual, there were plenty of people who were either just not impressed by the mode, which had been seen with YouTuber Mr. T Lexify at the time, or people who honestly just did not like the game because they didn't like the new systems it presented. Now, this may be recency bias, but I honestly kind of felt like there was a huge similarity between this experience in a lot of ways to the way Transit was viewed at launch. Although this launch was not nearly as negative as what we saw with Transit, I certainly saw a lot of people that refused to play it because it introduced so many new systems to the game. I think the overall consensus though was that this mode was a fun experience, however it was not nearly as good as the experiences the community had received prior with Treyarch Zombies, so people were not too impressed, but that doesn't mean people were not happy with the mode overall. Unfortunately though, the popularity of this mode was nowhere near enough to spark enough conversation about interesting theories surrounding the mode like with previous iterations, unfortunately, and people seem to just have a mild reaction to the fact it was in the game. But that leads us into the first, or I guess you could say second DLC, where we would get the next Zombies map, Infection, and oh boy. Infection released almost 2 months after the release of the first map of the game, Outbreak, and within it was a brand new Zombies experience that took place at a fast food restaurant? Yeah, pretty interesting decision, and the community honestly was just not the biggest fan of this map at all, and the main reason behind it honestly was just boredom, which is kind of insane to see because of the fact that this was literally the second map in the game. I saw comments such as this one by No Fear that backed this up, who said that he found it interesting at first, but quickly got bored of it after the second day. This did not help the fact that apparently the Easter egg for the map, which mind you has become a staple to the franchise at this point, was just simply not even working right when the map came out. According to numerous sources, there was a bug part of the map that didn't even allow you to progress, which was just insane. And if it wasn't clear enough, people like Mr. T Lexify were literally putting, quote, "Don't buy this DLC" as their title for the video on the first attempt, so I think that says more than enough as to how people personally viewed the map. Overall, people did not like the map, and I think TheSmithPlays sums it up pretty well in his video about it.
I've played on the Golden Gate Bridge, I've seen 1,000-foot robots, I've blown up the god Earth. And Sledgehammer thought it would be a good idea to make the highlight of a map a fast food restaurant.
However, surprisingly, things would come to change pretty quickly come the release of the next map in the game, Carrier, and things actually got pretty interesting for some people. Immediately when I was looking at videos from the time about the map, I immediately spotted people who believed that this was a pretty good map, such as this guy who said that it was the best Exo Zombies map and that he loved all the new features within it. And something funny I noticed was that, contrary to his last release, the Mr. T Lexify video for the first impressions about this mode was literally titled, quote, "Get this DLC," instead of what we saw with Infection. And in the video, Lex actually seemed to be enjoying himself somewhat. The comments were supporting this idea pretty clearly. I mean, this dude said it restored his faith in the whole mode, and this guy said the map was literally legendary. Even creators such as Nero Cinema, who isn't really known for his zombies opinions, was even in on the hype for this map, saying,
"So the map itself, is a lot better than what I thought it was going to be.
Now, while it may seem positive then, do I personally think this map really deserved it? Not really. I think, at least from an outside perspective, that this map was viewed in a much more positive light than what it probably would have been under different circumstances, as the previous release of Infection lowered expectations significantly, allowing the map to thrive. It's kind of similar to how people genuinely liked Die Rise in my last video following the release of Transit, because people viewed Transit as a horrible experience. Are Die Rise and Carrier the best maps ever? Certainly not, but they did serve as a faith restoration for the mode, which is certainly what Exo Zombies needed at the time. But with that, let's move on to the final map of the game, Descent. Descent is the closest thing we probably will ever get to an Atlantis style of map, unfortunately, but the setting of the map is so cool because it does take place underwater in some facility. And for the majority of people, the aesthetic is what caught their eye in the first place, such as this guy who said that he loved the atmosphere. But it didn't stop there. In a review by YouTuber Greg FPS, he stated that he would rate Descent as the best map in the game by far, and that he was not getting bored of it whatsoever. There were plenty of opposing comments though. In the Mr. T Lexify video surrounding his impressions, he stated that it was really just an Outbreak 2.0, and there were other people who agreed with his sentiment in the comments. People did really like the Easter egg with this map though. Contrary to Infection, where the Easter egg just didn't work, there were plenty of cool steps such as the Goliath underwater step and the infinite grenades and rockets Easter egg that many people found extremely exciting, and honestly the Easter egg isn't bad, and for those with elite ball knowledge about zombies, this technically was the first time a boss fight was ever added to zombies with the Oz boss fight. There honestly was a lot of content within this map, and overall, while there were numerous negative comments about the map, I saw a lot more positives across the board. But guys, I am going to wrap it up there. First of all, I did just want to say that despite the fact there was a lot of positivity here, I absolutely am not the biggest fan of Exo Zombies whatsoever. In fact, I think it may be up there for one of the worst zombies games in the entire history of the mode in my opinion. I personally find many of the features pretty annoying to deal with, and there are just plenty of better maps to play out there, but I can admit that the aesthetic and setting of the maps is pretty decent, and it can be fun occasionally. But with all that being said, I know this was not a Treyarch experience, and probably nobody asked for this video, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.